Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Women in Leadership and Business podcast today on the basic principles of highly effective leaders. My name is Sreshtha Tewari. I am an emotional intelligence coach and healer for women in leadership. And what that means is I basically help you to clear all your emotional blocks, help you get that those breakthroughs that you need in order to get unstuck in your life, in order to clear all low frequency emotions like fear, anxiety, sadness, in order to open a portal for you to step into the new you, fearless, authentic, and just loving every minute of your life. So on LinkedIn recently, I saw an article by Stuart Andrews on the basic principles of highly effective leaders. And I really loved what he wrote. He had a demographic, which I will share with you guys when I start to talk about it. And, I always think of, because I also went to graduate school, I did my MBA. And when we speak to leadership and we speak to what is effective and what works, speak to it almost from an outward view or lens. We don't speak to it in respects of what has to go on in you, in your body, in order to be able to then execute upon the things that we say highly effective leaders do. So let me share the graphic with you. And if you're watching, please feel free to say hi in the chat. I will check the chat at the end. Where did my graphic go? Okay, so of course my graphic disappeared when I need to share it. So let me get it back. Right, here it is. Okay, so right, so I'm just sharing this with you so you can see. And you should be able to see it on the screen there. Okay, can't see it good there. So let me go back how it was. Yeah, so we're going to talk about the first one. I hope you can see it clearly, but I will read it for you if you can't see it. So the first one that they talk about, the first principle is creating a shared vision. A successful leader creates a shared vision. And what he says is a great leader must be clear on their vision. To achieve their vision, they need to define and clarify the direction in which they want the team to go and the process in which they want the team to follow. So, if we look at what goes on inside us, what does it take to be able to confidently communicate a vision? Well, you have to understand who you are and not be fearful of going in a certain direction. So, we deal with anxiety. You have to understand how to deal with your fear. You have to understand how to weigh the risks in respect of what direction you want to take and what vision you want to communicate. Of course, that is outward and tactile. But going on inside you, you be without fear, be confident. You have to not be anxious in order to be able to communicate all of these things. So you really have to be grounded in what you know, your self-worth, who you are, and know that whatever direction or vision you choose to purport, that you can sufficiently speak to this vision without being offended, without taking any offense or defensive behavior if it is someone were to question it, because you would be grounded in yourself and in your worth to know that you are able to effectively speak to that vision. And if someone were to question it, it is from a place of curiosity. It is received from a place of curiosity as opposed to a place of trying to combat what you're doing or trying to threaten you. So one, and everything is going to come back being grounded in your self worth. So, the first one really, in order to be able to communicate anything, you have to know how to deal with your anxiety. If you have anxiety, you have to know how to deal with any fears that you have. And all of this come down in order to remove anxiety and fear and really move into your vision and communicate and successfully. It really has to do with having that confidence. And if it is because it is normal to feel anxiety and fear, knowing how to deal and regulate your nervous system with things like self regulating tools in order to communicate effectively. The second thing he speaks about is to ensure alignment. So he says alignment comes out of a shared vision. A strong leader knows the difference and works hard to protect the vision by choosing the right team members that will support the vision. So I want to talk about, first of all, choosing the right team members, which may be kind of touchy. So in leadership, what we say is choose team members is not about choosing a mini you. And it's not about choosing people who would just blindly support you. So early in my career, I was hiring a junior person to work under me. And I mean, I wasn't mature then. I really didn't know much about how to choose a good candidate. And I remember a senior person in the organization where I worked said to me, Shri, we are not looking for a mini. I really was looking for a mini me. I did not know better. Choosing a suitable person or the right team members has to do with understanding your own strength and weaknesses, understanding the weaknesses and strengths of the team members you currently have, and understanding who can you the skills that you are looking for in order to support the team that you currently have and you. So you in yourself have to be grounded in your worth so that you are not threatened by hiring someone who may know more about you in a particular area that you may not be able to articulate. Choosing the right team member has to do with understand that the team member may not always agree with you, but they will challenge in a healthy and respectful way. And you are not offended by that. You would not take that personally because you would understand that if they are challenging you, it really has to do with the work and their best intent to get the best outcome, which is also your intent. And they are just seeing things differently. So, in order to hire the right team member, again, you have to understand who you are, you have to understand your own worth, and you have to not be afraid of having difficult conversations, having persons challenge you. You have to be yourself so that you know if these situations come up, you can effectively deal with it in a way in which the person feels heard and is willing to either be influenced with what you are purporting or to agree to disagree. He speaks about hiring people that will support and protect you. So again, so it ties into what I was saying before. A lot of times, because we don't relationships in school, we don't learn how to deal with people, and we are quickly sometimes offended, and we think that persons are attacking us as leaders when really they just also want the best for the situation and they may see things in a wrong way. So hiring the right person also has to do with your ability to deal with difficult situations and to not be afraid of dealing with difficult situations. If you are grounded and know that you have a fair hire and you know that you are hiring the best person for the job, that within yourself know that there is no fear of what of manifesting into that, the person manifesting into that you can't deal with. And even if, because we all make mistakes, even if we make a mistake as a leader, being grounded in yourself and in your worth will give you the inner strength, the inner muscle in order to deal with a difficult conversation in a logical manner. again, you would know that this has nothing to do with you. It has to do with that person's experience, that person's knowledge, and their interpretation of what is happening. And we all interpret things differently because we have different. The third thing he talks about is creating a positive culture. He says all organizations have a culture. A leader works to create one that fosters an environment of trust, high morale, low turnover, and minimal drama. A strong culture will allow for purposeful brainstorming and for all parties to raise the standards of teamwork. So, in order to create a culture of trust and high morale, it really takes you first trusting yourself and trusting that you have hired the right people, because we don't look to hire people with low morale. We look to hire people with the right skills, the right competencies, and the right morale for the job. If you are to trust yourself, you are hiring the right people with the right morale, then again, you wouldn't be fearful any situation, because then you would know that you can effectively deal with it, knowing that you have hired someone who is capable of having a respectful discussion in respect of whatever you need to deal with. And also knowing that, again, whatever the situation is in respect of the drama has nothing to do with you personally, but a situation where both of you may be differently, trusting that both of you have the correct intent, but just different views and different approaches, and understanding as a leader how to influence that person in order to get the outcome that you want, and also being open enough to trust that if it is they have an idea that may work better, being grounded in yourself, take the idea and say thank you, I'm glad that you brought that up, and I'm really glad that you thought about this, because this is actually going to help us in respect of whatever journey we are going on. So in order to trust your team and create a high morale, first of all, you have to trust yourself. You have to be able to create a psychologically safe environment, and you are able to create a psychologically safe environment when you trust yourself. You don't have fears within you, because then you know your team comes to you with, you are able to effectively deal with it. The next thing he talks about is clear communication. So he says confusion can cause issues within organizations. So it is imperative for a leader to create a foundation for open and positive communication. A strong leader will create standards and practices for strong and clear communication. So again, how do you create a standard for strong and clear communication? First of all, you cannot be afraid of anything anybody is going to tell you. You cannot um, take it personally and be offended by something someone says, or get defensive when someone says that. And in order to do that within you, again, being grounded in your worth, regulating if persons are saying things that be peeving you, and understanding again that persons are just voicing their opinion because they are seeing things one way and they have good intent. They may not be not open, they may not know everything that you know and may have a difference of opinion there. And the other thing with communication is always being open to the ideas that are coming on the ground or from the people actually doing it, because they may see things in a way you wouldn't, because you are not integral part of the work. You're not supposed to be. Your purpose is more strategic. But understanding and being open with them, letting them know every step of the way what is going in itself builds trust and psychological safety. And once you are grounded in yourself, you are not fearful of anything that you are doing. You know you are doing the best that you can with the information you have at that point in time. That removes any fear and anxiety in terms of communication and worrying what people would say, how would you address this, and wanting to have a perfectly typed script before you get into any communication. So, again, as a leader, in order to be able to communicate effectively, you also have to be grounded within yourself, understand what your fears are, understand what you are anxious about, and treat with those things within you before you move into that communication space, knowing that anything anyone says doesn't have anything to do with you personally, but the situation in which speaking to, and that their comments have to do with their best intent as opposed to anything to offend you as the leader. The last thing he speaks about is, and let me share, is be people first and customer centric. The bottom line. Treat all things customer related with respect, honesty, and directness. So, this is something that to me is very basic, but I still think sometimes we miss the point. Once you are treating your team in a way that they know you have their back, in a way that they know you trust them, and they know that there is no penalty for making mistakes. We operate in a place where we understand that we are human, and if a mistake is made, it is seen as a path to learning as opposed to a path to punitive action. Once you are able to create psychological safety among your team so that they are not worried about actions they take, they're not fearful to come to you, they know that whatever is you're doing to you will be honored. Basically, they know that you have their back. They then will be willing to go above and beyond for a customer because they would be motivated. They would know that they are in a psychologically safe space, and they know if anything goes wrong or awry, they should be safe in their own bodies to admit if they make a mistake so you can deal with it upfront, and also to know that you would support them to traverse through whatever action is necessary in order to correct anything that happens. How do you create that and foster that atmosphere as a leader? Once again, you are safe within you and your body. You would know that anything your team comes to you with, you can handle. That is how you create a psychologically safe space. When they come to you again, even if it is something that is peeving you, because we are human, we get peeved, knowing how to rate yourself and so the you take what they're saying away from you personally and you just treat it as the situation, knowing how to regulate yourself and your emotions so that you do not get angry, you do not get upset, you do not start to feel anxious when they come to you with what may be a very big problem. All of this would create a psychologically safe environment and encourage that in the times when an issue occurs. This psychological safety, when in turn, helps you to treat with things sooner and not wait for things to blow up. And then they themselves would feel more free, they will have more freedom in terms of doing their job and not be afraid of what can occur if things go all right. The more free a person feels, the more they trust you, the more they trust is the more they will give to your customers because there is no threat of anything going against them. Once we are hiring people of high morale, people who are competent, people who have the skills to do the job, as leaders, we really should not have to worry with if they can do the job because we chose them. So if you are choosing somebody to do the job, especially if you're the hiring manager, you really should have any fear in respect of if that person could actually do the job. If you have a fear, then you really have to look at your hiring practices. You have to look at what you are looking for when you are scanning the resumes and what you are asking in order to get the information that you need in order to hire the best person. Understanding your own fears, dealing with your own fears, building your self worth, understanding the things that you do, and grounding yourself in who you are, knowing that you are doing the best that you can with the information that you have at this time in the most authentic way as a leader is the way to create that grounding in order to then enact on what makes a leader effective. If you don't understand what's going on within you, if you don't know how to deal with your emotions, you're going to find all of these things very helpful but not effective, because you will feel the anxiety rising when you get into difficult situations. You will feel the fear, you'll feel the anger, you'll feel the aggression, and you wouldn't know how to effectively deal with it. So I encourage all the leaders out there, and thank you so much to Stuart Andrews for sharing this and giving me so much content to talk about. I encourage you to understand who you are, know what you love so that you can connect with your people who you don't like, understand polarities and differences, and really embrace your emotions. Understand how to use them to work to your advantage and how to use them to create a psychological safe space for you, filled with mental and emotional freedom, to then encourage them to just give the best that they can, which is going to result in awesome results, experiences for your customers, and awesome results for your bottom line. So if anyone has any questions, I'm going to go over to the chat, and I don't see your name. Hi. Okay. Jane and Daniil. I think Daniil tagged someone. Thank you so much, Daniil, for inviting someone to view the podcast. So if you have any questions and you're watching on the replay, please feel free to comment. I will answer any questions that you have or any feedback that you have, anything you I said that you would like for clarification on. Please feel free to let me know. I will be again next week, and I encourage you, if this resonates with you, to book an emotional breakthrough session with me. You can book this through my website. On this call, I will clear one emotion for you, one thing you're feeling with respect to either sadness, anger, bitterness, jealousy, any negative emotion. I will clear that for you and help you pave a path forward in your life. It's a complimentary session where we can also explore, if you like, and with your mission, how I can support you in your life. Just step out of a good life into a great, awesome, unapologetically authentic. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.